Interesting. There was a bunch of deleting.
There we go.
Hey, Jake, sorry about that.
All good.
I think there was just a bunch of between me and what's his name? Shane?
Shane, yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a bunch of just like deleting and different like meetings that were being set up. So
Okay.
it's bad on my end. So I apologize about that.
We're all good.
Just really quick before we start, man, is there anything that you are kind of like you've been doing a lot of different interviews and podcasts and stuff like that? Is there anything that you're just kind of like, I'm tired of talking about this shit. I don't need to be asked this anymore.
Not really.
Okay. Because I mean, sometimes people get really tired of talking about the same thing
Right, right.
over and over and over again. So I just want to be respectful of that, and
I appreciate it. Yeah,
it
for
kind of
sure.
gets annoying after a while. Well, I don't know. Kind of how I structure the interview is usually kind of a free flow kind of conversation. I'm a therapist at heart. That's what I do for a living, and so like open conversation to me is uh, just the best. I'm obviously gonna ask some pointed questions about stuff if that's cool.
Hmm.
I've had Corey on before, which was an awesome experience. But I think it's cool to have multiple members of bands on because I think they all have like different, perspectives on things.
Totally.
Um, I've been a huge Minus the Bear fan since you guys put out, gosh, probably since 2002. How I came to your guys' music was I was in college and a friend of mine had a folder full of music, just a ton of different music, a ton of different bands. And he was like, have at it, just go look at stuff. And so I started listening, and I think it was thanks. You guys have to make your title so long. Thanks for the Killer Game of Crisco Twister. That came on, and that was like blew me away. I'd never heard anything like that before in my life. So I became a huge fan after that. I think I've seen you guys at least 5 times, if not more. Um, but how are you doing this morning?
Not too bad.
Yeah,
Not too bad. Just laundry, getting the kids off to school,
I hear that. Yeah, you got.
basic stuff.
How old are your kids, if you don't mind me asking?
11 and 14.
Okay, so you're right in that. Are they boys, girls?
Older boy, younger girl. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So you're like hitting that preteen age. The
Yeah.
girl, 14-year-old, is he in high school now or?
Eighth grade.
Okay. God, middle school
Is that
sucks.
right? Yeah, I think so. It's his last year of middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I work with teenagers, basically 14 to like young adults, through college age. So, and I did a lot of like child and family work in the past. So, um, and I have two kids myself. Getting the kids off of school is like a huge feat sometimes in the morning. So,
Yeah, this morning was no easy feat,
yeah.
actually. So,
You guys live in Seattle?
Tacoma.
Oh, you're in Tacoma,
Yeah.
to Compton. Cool.
Yep, exactly.
Have you guys? My nephew just went to Puget University of Puget Sound.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of beautiful areas of Tacoma that I don't think get,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah, for sure.
the whole town kind of gets a bad rap a
Yeah,
lot. But
it's that's like such old, yeah,
yeah,
old stuff. The we've been here for 10 years and it's just been awesome. Moved from South Seattle and like not a single day do I regret the decision to move here.
yeah,
We live in a really cool neighborhood in like the North End.
okay,
Um, it's super chill, beautiful. You can like walk a couple blocks and look off a bluff at
yeah,
Commencement Bay. So it's awesome place.
yeah. I think it totally gets a bad rap, and I think the downtown is starting to kind of like, well, but the last time I was there was like in 2019, right before COVID
Mhm.
hit. But things were just starting to kind of like get built up there. You know, you have some McMinnmans
Yep.
there and pretty cool bars and stuff like that too that are down there.
Yep.
What are some music venues that are in
There's this Spanish ballroom at the McMiniman's Elks Temple.
okay.
Um, and that's where we're playing our first show of the tour. There's Real Art, which is like it's an all ages venue.
Okay.
They do a ton of like hardcore and punk shows and super rad spot there. Airport Tavern, the Valley, Jazz Bones, which
Okay.
is a
That's a cool name.
fun name.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's the Temple Theater. Um, there's a lot of venues and like from various sizes, and of course we have the Tacoma Dome where
Right.
you get like some of the bigger artists.
That's where Minus the Bear is playing, right? At the end of its tour.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? No, yeah. We're starting off at like a really cool, but relatively well, medium size, I think, for Tacoma. But
Yeah.
yeah, a good
Yeah.
good venue.
And you guys are ending at Showbox, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just there. So I mean I live up in Bellingham now, but I
Mhm.
lived in Seattle for probably only 6 months, but I was living in Northgate. And I
Mhm.
came from New Jersey, so I had no idea what the fuck like
Yeah.
proximity Seattle was. So I was like, visited my brother, came down to find an apartment. I was like, oh, Northgate, I guess this is where it's at. Like had no idea whatsoever. But I was in a band and we used to go. Actually, I saw you guys at the Showbox. I don't know how long ago that was, but I remember it being, I saw a block party there and I
Mhm.
remember it being huge. And then I went to go see last weekend a band called Poor Old Lou, which is like
Mhm.
old school tooth and nail
Right. Totally.
stuff. And I was like, oh, this is a little bit smaller than I kind of remember. So I mean, that's why you guys are probably playing like three shows, right? You're playing three shows at the Showbox.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the one of the weird things about going to shows or touring is you go to a venue and you're like, wow, look at this place. And then you go
Yeah.
back and you're like, did it shrink
Yeah.
somehow? Like, how is that
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah.
But yeah, Showbox is one of my favorite venues
Yeah, it's great.
in the country, just because I mean they've got it set up so well. The sight lines are great. You can find a place almost anywhere in the venue to see like the actual stage. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, great venue. Sounds awesome.
Yeah. Have you guys played Soto before?
We played like a weird corporate event there,
Okay.
which was ridiculous and horrible, and I don't recommend it. So,
Corporate
but
event
that
for
was
who?
it was literally like a casual gaming conference
Oh, interesting.
thing. So, um, yeah, no more of that shit. Not ever again. But that was the only time we played there. It's not as good.
Yeah. I think I saw Refuse there. That's the only time I've ever they did a reunion tour.
Mhm.
And that was the only time that I remember going there. But I remember it being a little bit bigger than
Yeah,
uh Showbox Marketplace.
definitely higher cap. I just saw Refused at the Showbox show at the
Oh,
market.
did you?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean they put it on an awesome show. I thought they were dead
Mm-hmm.
again. And they came back to life and now they're fucking dead again.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
you
We'll
never
see.
know.
Maybe they'll rise back to life. So where did you grow up, Jake?
Um, most of the time in Woodinville,
Okay.
Washington. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
Um,
do you have brothers and sisters or
older sister.
okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Woodinville. Was your childhood like what kind of music or like was the family into music? Did your parents play anything?
I mean, there was a lot. I mean, they were kind of in the John Denvery kind of world there,
Yeah.
and maybe a little, I don't know, Jimmy Buffett or,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing terribly exciting for me. Um, and let's see, you know, early earlier in, my life, it was kind of more like Guns N' Roses or,
Mhm.
some Metallica and um, Beastie Boys, like and then got into skateboarding, and that leads you into punk rock
Yeah.
and SST records and um, like Bad Religion and just all these different like SST is incredibly eclectic, so a ton of
Yeah.
different music from there. Yeah, skate videos, snowboard videos. Always had incredible independent punk rock, post-punk type music. Um, and then also some like, Eazy-E and NWA and,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of maybe even some Too Short thrown in there. Might have
Okay.
been a little too young for that, but
I think so. I'm
Two Live
41. Yeah.
Two Live Crew.
Yeah.
That would be like, yeah, those kind of things, like having kids, I would be like, how would I approach hearing that
Right.
coming from
Right.
their room? Um, but yeah, it was, yeah, a lot of variety, but um,
How did your parents approach that coming from your room?
I don't think that they ever heard it really,
Okay.
which is great.
Yeah.
But they knew about all the, punk rock and, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. I think I've talked to a bunch of people on here where skateboarding culture was how they got into into that scene. I think I was talking with Chris Higdon from Elliott,
mhm.
um, and he was kind of talking about that. I think there was skateboard culture and in Kentucky that time, and it seems to be like a big in route into getting into punk and hardcore. Like it almost is like synonymous, kind of with
Yeah,
each other.
yeah.
Um,
You'd get Thrasher magazine, and they'd have
yeah,
a list of you could order like a JFA record or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So when did you first pick up a guitar?
Probably when I was about 12.
Okay. Did you play any other musical instruments before that?
Um, Saxophone in fifth grade band, and then my parents forced me into some piano lessons, which now I wish I'd have taken a little bit more seriously. But
It's a really great foundation, right, for musical
yeah,
theory in
I don't know if
general.
it helped me at all. I think I'd forgotten all of it by the time I started playing guitar.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunate.
What made you switch to guitar?
This the watch like playing punk or listening to punk rock music and
Yeah.
being yeah, exposed to music where I thought, oh yeah, I could do that. I could figure this out.
Yeah. You got your power chords and it's kind of really
Yeah.
play fast. That's kind of like just all you need.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you remember what your first guitar was?
It was a red Squire Stratocaster.
Nice. Good. Good
Yeah, I
pickup.
don't recommend Strats to any beginning guitar player or
What would you
most
recommend?
medium, average guitar players either.
What would you recommend?
Um, a Telly's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Telly's nice and basic, and not a lot can go wrong with it. If a
Right.
kid is um, young and starting out, you can, you know, knock it
What
over, throw it across the room, and it's still probably going to be relatively in tune. So, um,
what is
yeah.
this? What is this unrivaled hate for the Strat?
Um, it's the particular kind of like wiggle stick it's got, like
Yeah.
the floating tremolo
Tremolo.
bar. Uh, it makes everything harder. Like
Okay.
doing any kind of like unison bend or whatever,
Yeah.
and the note you're trying to match is constantly like detuning as you're trying to, and
Sure.
then you have to bend that a little bit. And um, tuning can be difficult if it's not properly set up, and it isn't the easiest guitar. I know some guitar nerds are going to be like, "Oh, that guy doesn't know what he's doing," and that's the point.
Right.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Um,
You're making me feel bad. I have like a custom Strat here, and
oh,
I just
I mean, I just sold like a killer 20, it was a 2011 57 reissue, and it was super
nice.
rad. It's
Yeah.
just, and I have
Pickups are
Ibanez
noisy,
Tallman.
man. That buzz.
What's that?
So the pickups are noisy. That buzz, man, like that comes
Yeah,
off of it.
yeah, and
Hard to deal with.
I have an Ibanez Tallman Strat style guitar,
Hmm.
but I had a like a Telly style bass, brass based pickup put into the bridge section, and I think I might have decked the trem, so kind of helps out. I think hardtail Strats, let's go. Like that's cool.
I saw it. Like, did you just get a new guitar?
Yeah, yeah, I got an Ibanez flat five, I think it's called. It's a
Okay.
Josh Smith signature model.
Yeah. I feel like when I was so I started playing guitar 14. My brother, so I have an older brother, he's about 4 years older, and his first was a not a Les Paul custom, just like your standard Les Paul,
Yeah,
which I put on now, and it's so fucking heavy
yeah,
to play. Beautiful guitar though, but I mean, like I remember like your starter kind of guitars. I think his first was like a Yamaha Pacifica.
oh, those I used to want one. Those were
Yeah,
rad. Yeah,
you could put stickers on it and just like not give two shits about it.
yeah.
But I think I got an Ibanez. That was like my first guitar, just kind of standard Ibanez, but like your beginners were like the Squires,
Yeah, my
early Ibanez.
first real guitar was an 89 Les Paul Standard.
Nice.
And it has been, I played it for a long, long time, and then sold it to, I think it's either Mark Gadgetar or Johnny Whitney, one of the Blood Brothers guys.
Okay, yeah,
And it's kind of made its way through a few people.
that's pretty cool.
And our friend Corey Alfano, he is the current owner, and I'm borrowing it from him
Nice.
right now. You want to see it?
Yeah, 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 totally.
Hold on one sec. This is some nerd stuff.
It
Here.
is. My brother is much more nerdy than me. He does like pedal, you know,
Yeah, this is
trials and things like that.
he had a pretty cool idea of like an app or something where you could track the history of ownership of a guitar like
That's really
this.
cool.
But it's everything. So it was like a cherry sunburst,
Yeah, that's I saw that on your Instagram. Yeah, that's the one I was kind of talking about. Yeah, it's beautiful.
and I had no idea what I was doing, but I stripped the top
Okay.
and finished it clear coated it, and I have no idea what even kind of finish I used. Um, Changed one of the pickups. Somebody else changed it too because I have no idea what that thing is, but it's awesome. And I broke the headstock and I put the Grover tuners on it, and
You took a
it,
gamble.
yeah, I mean this thing is plays amazingly, but it's beat to shit. Um,
Those are some of the
but
best guitars, though.
in a good way. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing how well it plays.
My brother just his midlife crisis, and like my sister-in-law was like, if this is as big as your midlife crisis is, like I'm down. He bought a I think it's a 1942 Gibson acoustic.
Oh
Uh,
wow. Yeah.
that is, I think it was like 5 grand.
Oh gee,
But
yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing sounds amazing. Like the wood, everything on it is just beautiful. Like the tone on it, it's
Hard to
great.
beat that,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. The he does a lot of playing, a lot of like video tutorials and stuff like that. So he needs good gear. He's had some people make some guitars for him and whatnot. Um,
Sweet.
but there was a guy he just met. We just met in Seattle who does these like so he makes his own pedals, but he models them off of like basically all of the big muffs or muff style.
Mhm.
And just like even he's got tons of different years and stuff like that. So he's talking to him about getting one made for him. And that whole world is just like I'm not as into it as he is, you know, I'm not like as tone centric or like I don't think my ears can pick up on certain things, but gear talk is always awesome. And you guys, I mean, at least I know Dave's got a shit ton of what was it DL no line six,
DL4s,
yeah,
yeah.
the DL4s. Um, which how many of those things have gone haywire on him? Because they had a
Oh,
reputation
all the
where they were
time.
breaking down.
Yeah, we would travel with like 12 of them and have like backups. And I at the like I think he has four usually on his board, and I've had up to three, I think.
Yeah,
Um, and Corey had, I mean, one or two at some point. I'm not sure. We were Planet of Ice. You just needed a lot of nonsense on your board.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, we have. I'm trying to scale back as much as possible,
yeah.
but but then I look at it and I'm like, ah, it's 12 pedals on this board right now. And what am I even doing with them? I probably only need three.
Yeah.
Um, but
I don't know,
yeah,
man. When you get into something, you get into it, right? Like
yeah,
you're just willing to spend whatever. You know
yeah.
what I
And I didn't,
mean?
during our little break, I didn't really play guitar hardly at all.
Yeah.
Almost, I sold so much stuff. And getting back into it, I was like, oh, well, maybe I can try some new things. And um, so I got some like a clone copy that's probably not gonna make it to the board, and I'm still kind of focused on that um, tube screamer-y thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I think I'm gonna yeah, the little tube screamer mini is awesome. So that and a KT, I think it's a KTR Harmony. Uh, it's called an Iron 101. It's like
Okay.
this weird Japanese iron casing with a hand wired 808 circuit.
Nice. That's awesome.
Oh, it's KGR Harmony. And one of the guys at Lawler Pickups here in Tacoma is one of the partners in that company.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, yeah, that's cool. And I'm just I bought too many things before this tour, and I'm like trying to figure out it's like choice paralysis when it comes
Right.
to
Yeah.
gear.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine that. Um, like what is it that is so breakable about the TL4?
The switches are mounted to the PCB.
Okay.
So the way we use them, we're stomping pretty hard. I mean, a lot of people probably do, and that's why it's, a known fault. And I think they changed that on this version 2, but I kind of prefer
Version
the
one?
OG in terms of everything,
Yeah.
except for the breakability. And there are mods and whatnot that you can do to help with that. But I've never done that. But I mean, one of them that was on my board, I'm like, doing a little sample trigger during one of our rehearsals, and it, went double time on its own. And there's just all these kind of,
We cannot have that going on during a live show.
but sometimes you just do it, you figure
Yeah.
it out. And we're so used to, like, the pedal is essential to us. We've
Yeah.
tried a couple other things, and it's just the only one that really does exactly what it does.
So, like, just what's your opinion, really quickly, on there's a lot of like amp modulation and
Mhm.
modulators that are being used um, today. I mean, I think even Metallica just has like racks of like amps that aren't being used. They just go through a modulator.
Right,
Like,
right.
have you tried any of those, or like what's your
No, I mean, let's see, I did a song with Jonah from Far, and one
Mhm.
line drawing that,
Yeah.
and I use the modelers in like Garage, or in Logic. Well, yeah, Logic.
Yeah.
So, and they were pretty darn good, but I've
Yeah.
never used like one of the, fancy Kemper type things. I did just get this from, let's see. Oh, here I'm back. Earthquaker devices. It's like
Oh, never. Yeah.
the easy
Cool.
listening. This is basically a deluxe, modeled after a deluxe reverb
Okay.
circuit. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just got a headphone out, and you plug your pedal board in and turn the knob up with
Yeah.
headphones, or like into your recording device. And it's kind of an awesome way to sit here and be able to use all my analog pedals
Yeah.
with, like, it has some kind of analog cab simulator in it, and just be able to play without like some kind of menu, or
Right.
like messing around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's nice. So, because I have some, I mean, I don't play live, but I have something called the STL Tone Hub. And it's, I mean, any model you can kind of think of, but they have presets and they're all from different producers and different musicians. So, like Kurt Ballou from
oh yeah, yeah.
Converge has a
Mhm.
whole thing of like his favorite tones and stuff like that. And it's really cool to use.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. And they have pedals on there and they have all sorts of shit.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I'm definitely not against it, and people have been like doing um that kind of silent stage for guitars. And
yeah,
I saw Weezer years ago, and they had no amps on the stage.
interesting.
And I was like, that's, if you're gonna do it, I mean,
Right.
maybe they had amps under the stage, I don't know. But if you're gonna do it, like, the dummies seem a little irrelevant,
Yeah,
and like making your text do that seems cruel.
right. Yeah,
No
that does
offense to
seem really
anybody.
cruel.
But I actually jokingly mentioned it to Dave at some point, and he's just like, no. And I
Hard
was like,
stop.
I know. I mean, you got to have something that can fail.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
too
true. Yeah,
loud and
yeah.
can fail.
That's the true rock and roll way. I mean, something kind of like, I don't know, something kind of there's something kind of like not nostalgic about it, but like something gets lost in translate. Like if things are too good, right? Like you hear a lot of like old producers kind of talking about, everything is so digital or so perfected to a T that like live recordings where bands would just play. Like there's something kind of like lost in that. And there's some sort of magic that kind of happens within that. You're never going to get the same take, right?
Right.
And especially when you're, I guess, going on to tape. and stuff like that. Did you guys ever do any albums on tape, or was it all digital?
Um, how Highly Refined Pirates was 24 track 2-inch tape. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I remember just when my brother started recording something. I was there for like a session he was doing, and it digital recording had just come out, and the switch was like big, but it was also like incredibly slow too.
Yeah.
Just because it was how much RAM it was using and all that stuff, and it was a big it was a big deal when it came out. I had these old kind of like the monitors from like I don't want to say like Apple computers, but kind of like the old like tube monitors for computers and stuff like that coming out.
Oh
It was
yeah.
kind of
I
wild to
had like
see.
I started on ADATs.
Okay,
Well, I started on, a Yamaha cassette tape 4-track, and then my first upgrade from that was getting a DAT recorder, and I would bounce 4 tracks to the DAT and then back to 2 tracks of the 4-track.
yeah,
And then got an ADAT and basically did the same thing with 8 tracks to the DAT and then back.
yeah.
And man, and I had like a crappy Mackie mixer, and some of the recordings might sound good. I'm afraid to listen to them, but I'd record bands in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
So, ADATs, man, that was a nightmare in and of itself.
Well, have you listened to False Cathedrals or anything by Elliot?
Uh, no, not really.
Oh,
No.
so there's a lot of like sampling within it,
Hmm.
and they're an awesome band. You should check them out. But the there's these kind of like digital sampling, and I was kind of talking to Chris, and I was like, how did you reproduce this live? Like, were you guys using a laptop or something? He was like, honestly, like I had a tape recorder. We had a tape recorder, and we would just press play. And he was like, we mainly had it because we were tuning in between songs, and we just
Hmm.
needed to fill that dead space. But it was really, and then he's like, then we went to ADATs and stuff like that. But I was like, that is rad. Like just to take a tape player and I don't know, I just mic it up, I guess, like,
Totally, yeah.
and just play their interludes and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm really curious about like, you're probably around if you're in Winneville, you're probably like, how old are you when the grunge scene kind of starts?
Um, well, let's see. We're talking probably late 80s, mid to
Or
late
90s?
80s. So I
Yeah.
was about that 10,
Okay.
10, 12 years
Yeah.
old when it was kind of kicking.
So you start or yeah, Sharks Keep Moving, and that is 98.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
What's
had like State Route 522 before that.
okay? What's the scene like in 98 in Seattle?
It was great.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good all ages venues on the east side and in Seattle. So we would be playing like the old Firehouse in Redmond. Ground Zero was a all ages venue in Bellevue. Um, but yeah, I mean, so many of the people in the Velvet Elvis in Seattle,
Hmm.
like so many of the people that we came up with, that we used to play those shows with, are still playing in bands
Yeah.
professionally. So
Yeah.
it's kind of insane how um, successful of an endeavor all of that was. I
Yeah.
mean, even like kids from the East Side um, are still doing it. That's
Yeah.
your um, Sunny Day Real Estate, or
Yeah.
Modest Mouse, and just a ton of bands. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, like, were you into Sunny Day at that point? I mean, is that something you kind of got into?
Yeah, yeah. When they came out, like the first time I saw them was at the old Firehouse in Redmond, and I don't remember, they weren't like headlining or anything. It was super early in their career. I'd never heard of them.
Hmm.
And I was like, who is this band? Like, Sunny Day Real Estate. What kind of name is that?
Yeah.
I'm one to talk. My band has a dumb name. But the but they were like insanely good. Like totally, you know, blew blew us away at that very first show. So
how did you kind of get into like the mathy type of music? Like what were some bands that you first listened to that you were like inspired by?
I got into a lot of Midwest stuff,
Okay.
like um, Joan of Arc,
Mm-hmm.
or
Kinsella
um,
stuff.
yeah, and let's see, June of '44, Rodan, even stuff like Drive Like Jehu had
Mm-hmm.
elements of that. Um, uh, Don Caballero,
Yeah.
just a lot of like touch and go, Drag City, the let me see what else was going on back then. Even like Rachel's still in that same world. Um, Shellac. I mean, it's there's so many bands. Like it's hard
Right.
to even recall a lot of that era of influence. Like Metro Shifter, Giant's Chair. I mean, I can just keep saying words
Yeah.
over and over, like long lists of words.
Was there something about that music though, or just that grabbed you that was just like, oh, this is really fucking cool?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
like,
I mean, it's just like the kind of like transition from um, the more straight ahead punk rock into kind of that post rock, post punk world where it's still maintained, a lot of it still maintained that rough edge.
yeah,
Um, oh, I've got to mention Tortoise as well, but like, yeah, kind of you gotta, and then added a sense of beauty to it, you know,
yeah,
like if you go from like Rodan into some of the June of '44 stuff, you can see where it kind of where it brings in these even more melodic and quiet parts. And yeah, there's the whole loud, quiet, loud
yeah.
from back in that day too. So um
Did you go
yeah, I think
see?
that it was like a way a new kind of, and even Soundgarden, Unwound, a lot of the Seattle stuff too. Nirvana wasn't some three-chord punk band by any
Right.
means.
Yeah,
Um, so hearing something with a little more oddity to it, like
yeah,
strange things that were unexpected, was kind of the attraction there.
yeah. Did you guys? I'm just curious. Did you go see American football on their first reunion tour?
No, I never really got
You never really
into
got into
American
them.
football. Yeah, yeah.
I
I mean, I like
swear.
it. I love it now. I mean, those guys are amazing people. I love, seeing them and hanging out and whatnot. But back in the day, I don't know why. I don't like for some reason that first record just kind of didn't end up in my collection.
I think it flew under the radar for a lot of people. And
Yeah, for
then,
sure.
I've had the pleasure of kind of sort of becoming friends with Steve
Hmm.
Lamos, the drummer,
Hmm.
and we talked, a long time about what that scene was like. And but I swear when they came, so they came and played with Bazan. Bazan opened,
Hmm.
and I swear that I saw Corey there and Dave, um, in the back there, and maybe I always like to say Jeremy Enick is kind of like a Yeti, like a or like Sasquatch, like he just kind of like you'll all of a sudden he'll be at a show just like in the background,
You get like a
and it's
hint out of
like
the corner of your eye.
yeah, we'd be like he's there and then he's gone,
Yeah.
type of thing. But I wonder if he was there that night. Yeah, so like this scene is kind of going on. Sharks Keep Moving is pretty short lived. Yeah.
Yeah, just a few years.
Okay.
A couple. 7 inches, a couple EPs, and one full length.
Uh, does that 7 inch? I think I saw something the other day. What's the artwork on there?
It's like 9 photos in a
Okay.
just square. It's a split 7 inch with a band called Kentucky Pistol.
Okay. There was one that looked, maybe I was wrong. There was like a picture of a kid that looks like a vampire or something like that. Maybe I'm totally off, but it might
Doesn't
have
ring a
been.
bell.
Okay. That it wasn't you guys. What do the name Sharks Keep Moving mean?
Um, I was looking at like Grand Royal magazine,
Hmm.
and there was an article that was called that, Sharks Keep
Okay.
Moving. And I was like, that's a fucking awesome band name. And like the meaning is cool and like it looks good on paper.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I still think it's a good band name. Like
it is. It's
yeah.
really easy when you listen to uh Sharks Keep Moving to kind of see the transition into Minus the Bear. Like there's a
Hmm.
lot of um similarities, I feel like, in it transitions really, really well.
Hmm.
When did you kind of, I don't know, when did you kind of start forming the band itself, Minus the Bear?
That was 2001-ish, probably,
Okay.
maybe a little earlier. It was Everybody But Me at first. So
Okay.
they'd recorded some demos, and and they played the demos for me. We were all kind of in a little crew back then.
You're at the
Uh,
Cha-Cha.
yeah, Cha Cha Lounge and Linda's and all that.
Yeah.
Definitely living the healthy lifestyle. And but I heard the demos and I was like, this is great. This is awesome. You probably need somebody to sing.
Yeah.
So you should probably have me do that.
Yeah.
So we started playing together and it worked out really well. It like kind of was intended to be the uh like a side project, right?
Sure.
And then quickly we were like, oh, this is something like we could do something that might go a little further than, the weird, quirky 10-minute repetitive tunes that Sharks was doing and like um the incredibly brutal botch stuff
Botch stuff.
and
Yeah.
like the Kill Sadie thing.
Yeah.
Um, all those bands were incredible, I think, but it was like, oh, there's a pop sensibility we can get through here that might be somewhat accessible to people.
Yeah. I mean, and it totally was. I mean, when I was talking to Corey, he said that you guys had recorded an EP before you ever played a
Hmm.
show.
Yeah.
And I mean, normally bands go and play, right? And then they record something, and that was that kind of weird. Was it like, was there a lot of pressure to kind of like, because you have a recording, right? And then
Yeah.
it's polished in a certain way.
Yeah.
Was there any sort of yeah, I don't know, kind of pressure to perform on the level of that recording?
Yeah, for sure. It was awesome to have something there and to have Suicide Squeeze and David Dickinson um, believe enough in the music. Like that's a um, big risk to take to
Sure.
put a release out and spend the money on something where you haven't seen if they can do it live. Um, but I mean, even then we were all pretty seasoned players, so got into the studio, made the EP, released it, and then played our first show. It's not the normal, you know, order of things, but it's
Worked.
kind of rad,
Yeah.
do it a little differently.
What was who recorded your first EP?
Matt Bayless.
Okay, because he recorded a lot, right? And he's been
Yep.
a lot of bands he's recorded, and he was obviously originally in the band.
Yep.
at first, kind of doing the digital element.
Yeah, keyboard. We would call him a keyboard player.
Okay.
And he also did some of the boopy boppy stuff for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your first where was your first show at? Was it Numos?
No, I think it was uh what is that venue on the Ave? Um
Chop Suey?
no, it's no longer there. It was starts with a P, and I feel like it was part of like a church at the time. Um
Drawing a blank.
yeah, I mean, you know, you ask and I'm of course not going to be able to remember it. I wonder if I can Google it. But it was all ages venue. I think, well, I don't know.
A
But that
lot
was
of
one of our first ones. We played like Fallout Records
Okay.
quickly thereafter and um, played with um, Built to Spill, like open for them pretty quickly. So we got a lot of really good, cool opening slots
Yeah.
right away. So
Was there a buzz about you guys before you started playing?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think that there was enough local prior knowledge of the other groups that people were a little bit interested in what we
Yeah.
had to do. Um, the Paradox, dude.
Okay. There
First
you go.
show was September 11th, 2001 at the Paradox.
Uh
That's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. 3 days after the big day.
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of
What?
crazy.
No,
No, that is the
that
day.
that's not right then. That's totally that's the first show for sure. But it was not on
September 11th.
September 11th. Yeah. It
Who's
was
keeping
probably
track of this shit?
September 14th,
Yeah.
September 14th sounds more correct.
Yeah, that's a crazy. I mean, I lived in New Jersey at that time. You could see the Twin Towers burning
Yeah.
from like my street. You can kind of oversee the 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 horizon or whatever
Yeah.
view of the city at that time.
So like it was 24 years to almost to the day.
That's crazy. Because like what Menos El Oso is now how old?
20 20 years.
20 years. Okay.
Yeah. Don't trust this AI generated Google.
How annoying is that?
The
Like
first,
it's the first thing that comes up,
yeah,
and like you automatically just kind of go to it, and you're like, forget about the rest of the
I know it wasn't on September 11th, but
yeah.
I said it because it was in the text right here. AI
Right.
overview, you lying piece of shit.
So you guys start playing around and like highly refined pirates comes out. Like what was the process like for recording that?
We got Steve Fisk to record, local legend, producer, engineer. He recorded a ton of records that I loved, like some Unwound stuff, Tree People, um, just a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe even like Soundgarden. I don't know. Um, but he's like an old school dude, like, try to do as much as you can in the take, and we were doing on tape. And it was I mean, I think that some of that raw um, process comes through in that record. It's
Yeah.
just not as polished as Oso or anything after it.
Yeah.
Um,
Which usually like, well, that necessarily wasn't your first. That was your first full length, right?
right.
And I feel like there's a lot of bands like I think like Coheed and Cambria's first album is by far my favorite album because of the rawness of it,
Yeah,
and the lack of polished. I think there's a certain type of like, yeah, like that rawness that kind of draws you in.
yeah.
Um, So, I mean that album when it comes out, do you guys start heavily touring then?
Yeah, we started touring as much as we could back then. It was we we were yeah, we wanted to do it. So we tried to do it and
Yeah.
did it as quickly as we could and took as much time as we possibly could to get on the road.
Because I remember, so I was living in New Jersey at the time. I came to visit my brother in Bellingham. And I think I told you this, but he was like, "What's one thing that you want to do while you're here?" And I was like, "Minus the Bears playing at the Pyramid Ale House."
Oh yeah, totally. That show.
um, and I want to go see them. And he was, so we traveled down, and you guys were playing just like literally under a tent,
Yep.
just outside the brewery. And I think Heliosequence either opened for you or was
Yeah.
after that. Um, and I remember very well going up to the merch table and talking to the person at the merch table, and I was like, so I kind of came down here like, and I'm from New Jersey, and you can tell the guys that like I sort of technically traveled from New Jersey to go see this band. And
Hmm.
she was like, well, I'm one of the members' wives.
Oh,
So was anybody who was married at that time?
I was not well, yeah, during that show I was married. Dave was married probably, and that's it, I think.
Okay, so these are one of your wives.
Hmm.
um who were the bands that you took out on those tours, or who did you tour with?
Um, let's see. What was our first? Well, I early on we were touring with like we did a Braid reunion tour. I believe that was in um
I saw that tour, yeah. That was, you guys had just released, they make beer commercials like this on that.
yeah. So it was
And
2003 or something like that.
yeah, I saw you at Starland Ballroom. And I was talking to Damon about, like, I don't know, a couple months ago, and his let me check my notes. His quote was pure debauchery on that on that tour.
Yeah.
um,
It was a fun one. I mean, there was a lot of drinking and
yeah,
all that. It was pretty amazing. And they were such a cool band to um tour with. They just, they'd been doing it for a long, long time.
yeah,
And it was kind of amazing. I mean, we toured with one of the early ones was Piebald,
yeah,
um with uh I'm looking at the internet now.
yeah.
Noise Ratchet and My Chemical
Oh
Romance
wow.
opening the
Okay.
shows. Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of shows where we were on our own tour, but we ended up just hooking up with different bands for different just specific shows like Trans Am or Harmar Superstar we played with a couple times.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, kind of filling in all around and then opening for those type of bands. And Cursive opened for Cursive on one of
Nice.
their tours.
And how did you
So,
get hooked up with them though? Was like, so how did you get hooked up on the Braid tour?
um I don't know.
Did you have a booking
It
agent
just kind
or?
of worked out with our booking agent. Uh and it was we submitted for it, and it was a good idea. It was a good
Yeah.
one.
I guess in the beginning, what was the, like you said, like you guys had some pop elements, right? And it wasn't unusual, I think, to see two different crowds. I remember seeing you guys in Philadelphia with These Arms Are Snakes, and who was the was like Copeland? Or
Uh,
Sparta? It might have been Sparta.
oh, really?
Yeah, well, I just remember These Arms Are Snake opening, and like everybody was there who was there for you guys. So you had these people who were like, "Oh man, I just want to dance," and like, and then like These Arms Are Snakes come on, and I'm like, "That is fucking cool," and
Yeah.
like everybody in the audience was just like had no idea
Yep.
what to do with them. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And I just always I thought it was cool that you guys could, and Corey talked about this, like marry a bunch of different audiences together. Because I would take it
Yeah.
from look at it from like a really technical standpoint, and I'd be
Right.
like, that is awesome. You know what I mean? But then you had people who were kind of like, more into just the dancey kind of element to it. And I think it kind of married those worlds, and we're kind of like, I don't know, we're a good crossover for a lot of people into that.
Yeah, it was like a cool audience. You had people that were fans of Botch,
Right,
coming to the shows and still appreciating the technicality of what Dave was doing, even though it's a radically different genre,
right,
especially from his band. And then um, people that were more interested in, like you said, or like younger people um, who found the band like it through college radio or something
right.
like that. Um, it's yeah, we've always had a really eclectic fan base in
Yeah,
that regard, and even age-wise, it's always been kind of a broad swath. I'd be often surprised at how many what at the time I considered old people, but are probably my age now. Yeah.
yeah. Somewhere lurking around in my record collection, I think I have an original Highly Refined Pirates. It's probably warped to shit now because I did not take very good care of my my
Hmm.
records. But I remember finding it in a Bellingham record store, and it was, when it snows in the Pacific Northwest and everything just shuts down. It was a
Oh yeah.
massive store, which kind of brings me a little bit to, you know, um, "Hooray" is one of my favorite songs that you guys have done, and I have two questions. Well, one observation, one question. Was "Hooray" written right after? Was that one of the first songs that you were going to put on Menos El Oso?
I believe so. Yeah, it
Okay,
was one of the
because
early ones.
to me it sounds very much like everything that was on they make beer commercials like this.
Mm,
It sounds very like, I was like, I feel like this song could have been on that EP.
right.
Because to me it stands out a little bit differently than some of the other songs. And the second, I guess my observation is, I think you have a unique and uncanny ability to capture things in your lyrics that are incredibly unique to the Pacific Northwest.
Mm,
Um, I don't know if I ever heard a song like "Hooray" that encapsulated what it's like to have a snow day in Seattle and in the Pacific Northwest. And there's something that's so cool about that to me, because if you have not experienced that, like, it's just a unique kind of experience, and it's special when it snows, right? And like
yeah,
the
it's
whole
yeah, it's
city
it's
just shuts down.
I don't know how many other cities there are that end up like Seattle on a snow day.
Yeah,
Like it's yeah, and especially on Capitol Hill
yeah,
or where we were at that on that specific day, it's like mayhem. Like nobody's working,
yeah,
like
yeah,
maybe people at Starbucks are still slinging coffee and whatnot, but yeah, it's shut down. And um yeah, people are sliding down Denny Hill on
yeah.
couches and stuff,
Yeah,
like
and cars unfortunately crashing into other
oh,
cars,
constant, yeah, constantly.
especially on Capitol Hill,
Yep.
in that way. And like, we're like, also things like pig war, right? Like, who the fuck knows anything about the pig war
Right.
unless you're from the Pacific Northwest, which like I'm not originally, but like you go up to the San Juan Islands, right? And there's, you can go see the barracks and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I'm just kind of like interested where you draw. I mean, you have so many albums, dude, but like where you draw your lyrical content from.
It's usually like I say often, it's usually like snippets or like moments trying to like get that feeling
Mm,
rather than necessarily like every little detail. It's like you get enough detail where you can um put yourself in the moment,
yeah,
but it's like a um I see some of it like kind of a um how do I see it? It's like a moment, almost like a series of paintings or a triptych or something like that,
yeah,
where you have a a scene that's like yeah mo more of like a tone sometimes than like a specific um story. But like I mean, Hooray is like got a lot of detail for the like kind of a narrative thing.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, oftentimes I'm just trying to convey um the tone or the moment of something, and you know, being specific as possible to get people into that mindset.
yeah. And like, is there certain, you're talking about tone? Is there certain like emotions that you're going for in that, or is it just the emotions that you're feeling at the time? It kind of reminds me of like a snapshot, right? Like you're
Yeah.
taking a snapshot of time. And is there something, do you write the lyrics for yourself, or do you write the lyrics to evoke something in people? A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, or
Yeah, a little bit of all of it.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
yeah,
it's yeah, or like um yeah, snapshot. It's like or like a memory of something, and you've got like a little photo book and you're kind of going through it and going, "Oh yeah,
yeah.
remember that?"
Yeah. No, I think it's,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you do that like super well. Like I said, Hooray is one of those that I can remember. Like I go back to a very happy place thinking about like, having off work or,
Mm,
like you said, drink or just any times where you're just like with your friends drinking in a bar, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Or something like that when it's cold outside and,
Yep.
um,
There's
you
not
know,
like a lot of songs about heartbreak. You know what I mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Well,
about
yeah,
the being in it, you
yeah,
know, rather than, this love song stuff. I mean, there's love songs, but they're like about um the scene of it. Yeah.
right. Or just like, gosh, what is that? I can't remember the name because your guys' names are just so
Dumb. Yeah, I know.
dead.
We
That's
fixed
what
it later in the band. Yeah.
that's what no, I think they're awesome. I think it's what made it unique. At the same time, when I was talking to Corey, he was like, it kind of got annoying that people were just asking more about the song titles versus like the content of the songs. At least that was his perspective,
Yep.
especially in doing, like interviews and things like that.
Yep.
But like you have on highly refined pirates, like you have a really good snapshot in time of what it's like to be in Europe, right?
Right.
And sitting on a park bench that's older than your country and things like that. But if you've gone to Europe, like that's the experience. And so it's like to me, it's really cool that you can encapsulate a moment that brings other people in, but also is a personal experience to you,
Hmm.
right? That you're snapshotting like sounds like going out with your wife and
Hmm.
like having wine and just kind of like sitting and enjoying the scenery and the franticness that goes along with seeing everything in Europe at the at the same time. It's not a leisurely vacation, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? By
Yeah.
any means. So I like I think that's I don't know, that's what draws me to the music as well. But I would imagine that's what it draws a lot of people into
Hmm.
as well. Because Menos El Oso is a snapshot in time for you too, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
you're
and we're
over in.
still like there's still like that Europe um narrative there, and a lot of San Juan Island, and um yeah, that kind of stuff. And then some like, fictionally stories, fiction stories and things too. So,
Planet of Ice gets, I mean, obviously, okay, so you guys are touring off Minnesota. So what made you decide to do that, to like get back, and like what inspired you guys to get back together? Was it specifically that this album is turning 20 at this point?
well, um we hadn't talked about it at all. We got an offer that was pretty good from Best Friends Forever Festival
Yeah.
for the first one last year. And so we got on, a call, or we got an email and just kind of tested the interest. Um,
It's such a fucking stacked lineup
oh
too.
yeah, it's
Like
dope.
it's
Yeah, and
crazy.
our agents talked to Dave and then sent the email out to everybody. And um, I was like, yeah, let's get the band back together. And I don't think anybody was all hesitant at all, but that specific Dave was just coming off a botch tour, and that specific show didn't quite seem like it was gonna be the best way to jump back in.
Hmm.
So we kept the conversation going with him and tried to get and said we'll do it next year when we can get a whole tour together, because everybody's kind of um gone their separate ways. Or
Yeah.
Alex is in England and Corey's in New Mexico and our drummer lives in Iowa. So getting everybody together requires a lot of effort and money. So we thought,
Yeah.
why not do a
Yeah.
bigger reunion that way we can. And we were like, well, we can do Oso next year, and
Yeah.
it'll be a perfect kind of birthday for that. Yeah.
What's so you guys played Sunset
Yeah.
Tavern, right? What was that? How was that?
It's great.
That was your first show back together, right?
Yeah, yeah, totally. We did like about an hour long set, just nice and short, no encore. We were just like, we just 200, I think about 200 people. And yeah, just did the uh did the thing, and it was nice and easy, and it's a killer club. It's a really
Yeah.
uh
Why did you guys pick
awesome
Sunset?
spot. We were looking for something like that was small, like real small, but that also had enough of a that had like a decent sound system that wasn't just small and junky, like something that would be easy um to have be easy to have a Minus the Bear show where we felt like we could bring all of most of the stuff that we um need to do it. And and it has a decent sized stage. It's not big
Yeah.
at all, but it was big enough to fit us. So it just seemed like the perfect place. And
Yeah.
they're just awesome people. And we'd never played there before. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, you guys, I remember you guys playing Bellingham once at the Nightlight. I don't even remember
Mm.
who opened for you guys. I'd seen a couple different. I mean, Jeremy Enoch played there, um, but like, what's the deal, man?
Uh,
Why aren't
I
you
don't
coming
know.
up
I mean,
here?
I think we might have played the college up there too at some
Yeah,
point. Um, it's just difficult to play um, the area and not play Seattle.
yeah.
Um,
It's a cross through, right? Usually from Vancouver,
right.
into Seattle.
Well, yeah, and then you're also it's a day where you're not that you're adding in between Seattle and and Vancouver.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unfortunate. It's
I'm
an
just messing with you. Yeah.
unfortunate placement of a town there, bud.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you can't, I don't know. I can't beat it. I was living in Portland up until, well, Portland, Vancouver up until
Mhm.
June. And it pains me the amount of, I was living in Vancouver. So it's like, you want to go into Portland, you want to go see shows, it's 20 minutes away. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I went to go see Quicksand. I went to go see, like a bunch of other bands. 20 minutes, I'd be home,
yeah,
and so now I have to travel an hour and a half to go see,
yeah.
any show or even to go to the freaking airport. Um,
Hey man, I get it. I mean, it's a up to an hour and a half to get from Tacoma to Seattle or back. So,
oh, that
uh,
traffic. Yeah,
yeah,
it sucks.
yeah.
There's always the train, I guess. Um, Nobody wants to take that.
Not for me.
No. um, yeah, I mean, you guys have what, like an 18-year career?
Yeah, it was 17 years, I think, until the last show. Yeah.
How, how? Like, how do you take a group of, like, I mean, you guys had member changes, right? Like,
Yeah.
and were those member changes pretty seamless? I know Aaron was probably a big part of
Mhm.
you guys for a long time. Was it hard to incorporate new members, or did it flow pretty well?
I mean, both the drummers we toured with, our
Okay.
second drummer was um, the drum tech for us. So he knew a lot of the stuff already. Um, and Josh, our current drummer, was in Into It Over It, who we toured with. So we already knew he was awesome and easy to get along with and was a fantastic drummer. So um,
Evan and I used to work at a punk rock record label together. I interned there. It was basically us selling CDs on eBay. Like that
mm,
that was the extent of it. But
that's
him and
sweet.
I, yeah, we worked in South Jersey together, and that was like it's been a little crazy watching his kind of musical route, because he was in a band before that called The Progress. And South Jersey had its own, Philly had its own scene kind of
Mm,
going on. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a super small world. And that was like, oh hey, I worked with Evan, and I mean, you guys are taking them, or they're playing a couple shows, right, with you
yep.
guys in Chicago.
Yeah, totally. Stoked for that.
Um, so what about, because you had Matt first, and then you had to incorporate his parts, or somebody playing his parts as well. Was
Yeah.
that
And then,
just as
yeah,
smooth?
Alex was friends with Corey from high school
Okay.
and moved out to Seattle. He helped with recording Oso. So he and I we're at my house in my little home studio doing guitar overdubs and backup vocals and things like that. It was another situation where we already knew him and we liked him and he was okay with, you know, how, I don't know, he was a guitar player, right?
Yeah.
He is a multi-instrumentalist, but I don't know if he would consider himself much of a keyboard player,
Mhm.
but he definitely
It
filled
worked.
his shoes, right? Like
Yeah.
he's done a great job and he's a great singer, so having him be able to do backup vocals and all that,
Yeah.
uh, that type of reinforcement's been awesome.
I'm curious, being like a dad and a husband myself, what touring is like when you have a family. Like,
Mm.
is that uh, pretty difficult, or?
Yeah, I mean, let's see, did it with toured with when I had kids from 2011, so that was, 7 years or something like that. It was a good bit of time. We did take some time off. There was a bit of a rough patch after um, Omni, Um, so, but that was one of the tough. Yeah, it was tough to leave the family, leave the wife with the young kids, and having to
Yeah.
deal with all that on her own. So.
Yeah. What was it like for you? Was there a longing to be back home, or was it like, this is my job, this is what I do? You know what I mean? It kind of comes with the territory. Um,
Yeah, it was all of the above, you know. It
yeah.
was difficult to be away. It was still fun to be on tour and um but that was one of the main reasons for me to stop was to um spend more time with them because, you know, Jackson was 7-ish by the end
Yeah.
and my daughter was 4 or 5, so it was kind of it felt like time to spend time with them while they were aware that I exist,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess for you, when did you know it was time to wind down?
I mean, there were a couple times when I didn't really feel like comfortable with doing it. But like definitely around the Voids era
Mm-hmm.
of things. So 2017-ish,
Okay.
2016.
I mean, how do you think you sustain the bands break up all the time, right? And they
Mhm.
break up for whatever reasons, a lot of them relational or differences of opinion in music. What do you think was some of the key to success for you guys to have such a long career?
It was a collective goal. The band was something that we all wanted to have when we wanted it to be successful. We were
Yeah.
always driven. It was um, this kind of mutually beneficial situation. For the most part, we got along. Um, but like having that shared drive and goal was the thing that I think kept us going.
Yeah. What was it like to transition, I guess, out of doing that kind of full time and then into uh, civilian life, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was pretty easy. I was just so ready to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that it was, yeah, I was pretty going through a lot of anxiety at the time. A lot of it centered around leaving the
Yeah.
family and whatnot. So it was just, I think maybe easier for me than some of the other guys, just because it was felt so necessary.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Just, I mean, I'm just, I'm a mental health therapist. So, I mean, like when
Mhm.
you say anxiety, what did that look like for you?
Like really deep apprehension of like I would like if we had a fly out show or were any kind of tour or whatever, I would spend like the day or two before like feeling in like almost puking with anxiety,
Mm,
that kind of
yeah.
nauseated like dread of going. Um, but yeah, that was uh yeah, it was kind of a rough time for me mentally back then. And it really centered around the family and leaving and um not wanting just didn't want to be there. Just
Yeah.
didn't really want to do it anymore. I knew I didn't want to write any more records. It was became a relatively painful experience
Mm,
and things just got a little too and I also wanted to end on a high note.
yeah.
I didn't want to ride the wave back down and start playing like smaller clubs, and I'd seen other bands having to do that. Um, just felt necessary at the time. Um, yeah. The anxiety continued for quite a while after that, but
Yeah.
found the right uh, shrink and the right drugs, and things have been somewhat better.
Yeah, I just went through a period of, I mean, I'm a therapist, right? I'm supposed to have my shit together, apparently.
Oh,
I
none of you
don't.
guys do,
That's kind of why we go into this field, right?
right?
But I went through it really, I mean, I'm still coming out of it, a very intense period of anxiety where it didn't matter. Every
Hmm.
day was torturous with anxiety. And, some of that had to do with trauma. Some of it had to do with, just my system being like, you can't fucking do this anymore. Like anxiety is that wave or that rush of adrenaline, right? That's kind of like, I'm trying to protect you from something.
Yeah,
And you know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense all the time. You know what I mean? Like, and it it will try to protect you whether you want it to or not, right? And
yeah,
then
and it was the like getting back, and then the anxiety is still there sometimes, and then you're
yeah,
like, oh, maybe it's not totally connected to the band.
yeah,
Maybe there's like something bigger going on. Um, and then, I had depression diagnosis before and anxiety. And I mean, there was a time that they were dabbling in ADD for me. And then and then finally found a guy that was like, oh, I think you have bipolar. Like, I don't know, whatever the good one is of the
is
two,
there a good bipolar?
the better one, the better of the two. And yeah, and like back then I was just smoking a lot of weed, and he was like, I'm not going to treat you if you're going to continue smoking weed because
Yeah,
it actually does have an effect. And then so I stopped and got on like the right meds for bipolar, the this the good one. And then everything kind of improved, you know.
yeah. One of the main for bipolar is lamotrigine. Um,
That's what I.
which
Yep,
yeah,
that's the one.
which that's something I take too. I'm not bipolar. I'm not diagnosed with bipolar, but it did help my anxiety quite a
Yeah,
bit. But it's interesting because it's an anti seizure, right?
yeah,
It's an
exactly.
anti seizure
And it's one of
medication.
those things I think for people that you can take it for a while and then be like, oh, I feel fine. Do I
Right,
need to do this anymore? But that's
right,
what you're doing. Yeah,
right.
that's why, it
Yeah,
doesn't give you any feeling when you take it necessarily. It doesn't
right.
like it's not like um uh ADD meds where ADHD meds where you're gonna kind of you can feel it when you're starting, to take it or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's a subtle improvement. But
I feel like,
great
and
drug.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how comfortable you are talking about this, so I don't really want to dive too much into it, but
Hmm.
for a while there, like for anxiety, and I'm still kind of coming off of it, but oh God, one of your songs says Ativan won't kill.
Hmm.
Well, we know a lot more now, and that it will kill you if you if
Hmm.
you stop it cold turkey.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I mean, I know you were like not meaning that
Not medical
in that time.
advice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not medical voice, but advice. But like, I had to go on lorazepam just to sleep,
Hmm.
and because like my anxiety was so bad, and a lot of people take. There's like an epidemic of people taking like Xanax, lorazepam, these kind of short acting,
Hmm.
central nervous system suppressants, and then your body becomes dependent on them, and to wean yourself off of them is like insanely difficult.
Yeah, even like depression,
Yeah,
SSRIs, and like trying to get off that without feeling like the kind of shock sensations in your spine.
yeah,
Like, there's
yeah.
all these very strange effects of getting off of some of these drugs. So
So one of
it's
the one of the things that's really interesting because I had to go through a lot of just different information on this stuff is that like it will if you stop some of these medications cold turkey like lorazepam those kind of benzodiazepines will kill you if you
yeah.
if you stop and their withdrawals can be worse than like heroin
Right.
And there's like millions of people that take this on a constant basis, but it's very relieving for anxiety.
Yeah.
And you know, there's some good to it, but there's also like a nasty side
Yeah.
of it. And I mean, I enjoy talking about this stuff just simply not from a therapy standpoint because I've lived it too. And I think it's really important for people to know that they're not alone in
Hmm.
this. You know what I mean? Like, it can be a really isolating type thing, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
and like the idea like of there's there are people that still seem to consider it like a moral failing if you have to um, medicate yourself. And you hear a lot of people being like, "Well, why don't you go, take a walk in the forest
yeah,
or like work out or improve your diet and whatnot?" And they just don't seem to understand what the problem actually
that's
is.
part of it, right? That's like those are coping mechanisms or tools or things like that. It's funny because when I work with teenagers, they're so over aware of mental health issues now that
Hmm.
like when somebody says anxiety, oh, like I have depression or anxiety, I'm like, I have to know what you mean by that,
Hmm.
right? Like, unless you've had a panic attack or unless you've had physical anxiety that is so overwhelming, right? Like, it becomes a word, right? That doesn't, I mean, there's a difference between an anxiety disorder or major depressive disorder,
Hmm.
the disorder part of it versus just kind of feeling depressed or just kind of feeling anxious,
Right.
uh,
Yep.
you know, in that way. And it's become so, I don't want to say generalized in a certain way that it starts like words matter, you know what I mean? Like it can become kind of generalized in a sense where it kind of loses a lot of meaning. I have obsessive compulsive disorder. I was diagnosed when I was a teenager, and people use that all the time, right? Like, oh, I'm
Right.
so OCD. I'm like, unless
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like crippled, like
Yeah.
with doing repetitive behaviors over and over, like I'm not gonna get pissed off, but like, can we put some context in this? You know what I mean? It
Hmm.
kind of de-emphasizes the suffering uh, of people
Yeah.
in
Totally.
that way. You know,
Yeah.
so I just have a couple more questions for you, Jake. I really appreciate you talking about that. I was
Hmm.
able to talk about that with Damon too, kind of his sobriety journey and dealing with anxiety. So I
Hmm.
really appreciate that. You know, I like a couple more questions that I have is one, I'm curious, like if you had a chance to talk with your younger self, um, you know, say in your 20s or when you were first starting out Myers Bear, or just kind of like in those beginning years, what piece of advice would you give him? Or what would you want him to know?
Um, I would, I would, I would, I would tell him to tone down on the partying and you concentrate a little bit more on the professional while you're out there, like
Yeah.
play shows and do it, do it well. You're out there for the fans, like it's I mean, we took it really seriously and did our best, but I mean, um, I think there are definitely shows where they could have been better, and some of that was um, it was definitely the um, late nights sometimes that would be the cause of it, and
Yeah.
but yeah, we were a pretty hard partying band back in the day, and I would just say like you're gonna I would tell that young boy, I would tell him um, you have the opportunity to do this for a long time and make a living at it. So uh, just take it seriously, but don't take it too seriously that you're going to freak out about that thing all the time.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. Moderation.
Yep. Everything
What
in moderation.
one of the guests I had on here said that For them, it was what they would say is kind of like, well, he initially said, go to college. But
Uh-huh.
then he was like, I'd want him to know how difficult it was to kind of be sober in this industry and try
Hmm.
and stay sober in that way. So yeah, I think it's a point that people made. I mean, you're not necessarily talking about sobriety, but it is something that kind of comes up with people about like, yeah, you're around a lot of booze, and it's just kind of what you do, and hang out in that way, especially when you're much younger. Um,
Yeah, I figured it out. Like there were a few tours toward the end that I did, sober from alcohol.
yeah. The other question
Sorry,
I
the mail
had.
just came. There was a
Oh,
huge
that's
sound.
totally fine. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but we're living in a really politically fucked up time
Yeah,
in
indeed.
in America, and just there's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
Um, what do you? I don't know. Maybe is there a hope that you have in terms of like providing music for people, not from a political standpoint, but just kind of like I don't know. What do you think music provides for people that can kind of mellow, like what do you hope your music does for people, or could do for people in a time that is very angst ridden and very anxiety ridden for a lot of people?
Just some like level of release, some, reprieve from all this um bullshit that we're having to like experience every day. I mean, even if you try to avoid it, it creeps in, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so I think music, entertainment, human entertainment has always been kind of a um, momentary, a small way to forget that, you've got to go back to the mines tomorrow,
Yeah.
or um, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing is you just have to have music is one of those great things. Like you can look at a painting and be in awe or, read a book, but there's nothing like going to a show and having
Hmm.
that communal experience. Um, and those things generally are seem less you know, acute when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I might every once in a while say some stuff from the stage
Yeah.
about these events and whatnot, and we're um, uh, doing some of what we can. We're having a voter registration at what shows we can get
Awesome.
people out to volunteer for that with headcount.org.
Cool.
So, uh, and hopefully that's helpful for people too. But yeah, I mean, it's a very noisy time.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, a noisy show helps with blocking out the other stuff. Yeah.
And it's cathartic
Yeah.
too. I think like when I went to Furnace Fest, the first one that happened right after COVID or during COVID, it was just kind of this release for everybody.
Hmm.
Which I don't know if you know about Furnace Fest, but
Oh
it's
yeah, we've played it before.
yeah, and it was just a lot of catharsis. That was like we're all sharing that in this experience, and right now a lot of the other stuff that's going on like doesn't need we don't need that right now, you know what I mean? Like we just can
Hmm.
kind of commune in a certain way over something that we all kind of like enjoy, like you
Yeah.
said, kind of just put down everything else that is kind of going on. um
Yeah, and recharge a bit.
and yeah, yeah, and yeah, I think that's pretty much all I kind of have for you. Is there something you're really stoked on right now?
Um, I mean, just music, there's I'm like I don't really music in general is kind of what I'm stoked on. Being able to discover like um new artists and have it become this more organic way of doing it. I mean, um going to the record store back in the day was relatively organic too.
Yeah.
But you didn't have the ability to kind of swim through a certain genre and like go, okay, I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that. And you know, being able to hear anything is great. And I'm like I'm really into hi-fi and um having really nice sounding reproduction of music.
Hmm.
So it's a very kind of um uh, it's like an experience when I'm listening here at home with what with the
Yeah.
gear I have and the ability that it has to reproduce detail. It's like a little brain. It's like that, it's like going to the show almost. It gives you that um escape and whatnot. So uh
Are there
being
bands
able
you're
to
stoked on right
what
now? Are there bands that you're just like,
I mean, yeah, it's just they come and go so quickly in a way. And I think that
yeah,
that might be one of the downfalls of the
sure.
streaming world. But one thing that I just discovered that's pretty amazing, this this duo called Blank Gloss, and they're kind of in that I don't know if you've heard Sus, this kind of atmospheric, almost country,
Oh, interesting.
real slow guitar kind of stuff. Uh, it's pretty amazing. But I mean, I've recently, the past few years, been super into everything, British band and Japanese house um, and just a ton of electronic music. So uh, rediscovering some stuff too, like um, karate and
Mm.
threw on the American Analog set, Know by Heart the other day and was like, oh man, so good. But it's almost there's just too much.
There's a glut of music, right? Like
Yeah.
that, yeah, like you said, and it's hard. Like I've talked about this with other people too. It's kind of like it's cool that you can make stuff and put it up there. It
Mm,
seems it seems hard to stand out
yeah.
in a lot of ways, which I don't know if it's detrimental or like it's a cool avenue to have your music out there. But if you want to make something of it, it seems harder and harder to kind of like stand out unless you have marketing or the idea of being a content creator on Instagram just
Horrifying.
is unappealing at best. Um, I don't know if you watch Seinfeld uh, at all, but there's this like somebody put this on Instagram as well that was just like musicians trying to be content creators, and it's this moment where Jerry and George are talking to each other, and they're like, "What are we doing? We're not men." You know what I mean? Like, or
Mhm.
it's that feeling of like, why do I have to do this? Like, this is
Yeah.
not me. You know what I mean? But it's a crazy new world that
Mhm.
you know to make stuff. I mean, you guys have to make content. I mean, you don't have to, but like you
Right.
have, right? Like
Yeah.
just to
Not my
kind
favorite thing to do.
yeah, it's an interesting world in that respect. So Jake, thanks so much for taking your time. Your guys' music has meant a lot to me, and like your lyrics have said, like you've said about your lyrics, like they're snapshots of my life that correspond with that time,
Mhm.
and I've seen you guys multiple. You're probably the band that I've seen the most.
Oh, right on.
And,
That's
and
awesome.
I've just enjoyed your guys' music so much. So I never take it for granted that I get to talk to people like you and that you even take the time to do this. So I just want to say thank you again for coming on. And um, yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for
So
having me on.
yeah,
Great conversation.
yeah. With that, I'll let you go.
All right, man.
All right, thanks, Shake.
Yep. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.